We'll call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. It's great to have a full house again tonight. We'll start with the adoption of the minutes from our regular meeting of October the 27th, as well as October the 30th. Could I have a motion, please? Moved and seconded. Are there any errors or omissions? Okay, seeing none, then I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. There is a resolution to amend the agenda. I'll ask our corporate officer to explain, please.
Yes, Your Worship. Staff is requesting that item 9.4 skate park design be removed from tonight's meeting agenda to allow staff additional time to research funding sources for this project.
Okay, and the wish of council, please.
So moved.
Seconded, please. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, simply that we're going to look for other sources, make sure we've got everything in order before it comes back to the table. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, good. Call the question, then all those in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you so much. Next item on the agenda is the public hearing. This is the public hearing bylaw. Yes, it's Councillor Hacking.
I have a conflict of interest. One of the proponents for this application is a relative of mine, so I'll be recusing myself. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll let you go into that back room and
See you in an hour.
make sure
see
that we
you
get you. Thank you so much. Okay, this is bylaw 2014-029. This is the amendment of zoning bylaw 2000-450 to create a new temporary use permit area for 8911 and 9310 Jubilee Road. And I just have a statement that I'm required by law to read to you. This public hearing is being held pursuant to Section 890 of the Local Government Act. The purpose of this hearing is to consider certain bylaws which, if adopted, will amend the Summerland Official Community Plan, Bylaw 2000-310, and/or Summerland Zoning Bylaw 2000-450. During this public hearing, anyone who believes that his or her interest is affected by the proposed development will be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard or to present written submissions respecting matters contained in the bylaw that are subject of this hearing. All information, correspondence, petitions, or reports that have been received concerning the subject bylaw have been made available to the public. I would like to invite the public to come forward and present their comments. Speakers are asked to state their name and address for the record. Speakers are encouraged to limit their remarks to 5 minutes and should include all of the relevant information in their presentation. Further opportunity will be afforded for any person to speak a second or a third time once all persons have had an opportunity to speak. During the public hearing, council may ask questions of staff and the public, but once the public hearing is over, no new information can be received. Council debate on the bylaw will take place when the bylaw is considered after the conclusion of the hearing, and at this time, any questions of staff should be for clarification purposes only. And just before I go to the corporate officer, I'm going to ask for a short synopsis of the issue first, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. This applies to two properties in Summerland that are zoned heavy commercial CM. That's the Summerland Builders Mart and the Fruit Packing Co-op. And the purpose of this amendment is to allow transition uses as this CM use in our community plan is strict, it's very limited, and the intent in the community plan is for these uses to be transitioned out of this location. So in the meanwhile, we're suggesting that temporary uses be issued at the wish of council for temporary periods of time up to 3 years.
Okay, anything else to add? No? Any questions of council before we go to the public hearing? Okay, I'm going to ask our corporate officer to please let a question
Just
of
a
the,
quick question.
yes, of course, Councilor Waterman.
Through to the planning manager, what is the transition time? 3 years for this?
Temporary permits are good for 3 years, and they can be extended once by resolution of council, and then they have to come back and be reissued again if they want to continue.
I see. So there's no sort of definitive time frame for the overall transition to a different use pattern?
No, it goes in 3-year
Gotcha.
increments, if you
Okay,
like.
thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, our corporate officer, I understand we did receive a letter.
Yes, Your Worship. We received one piece of correspondence to be included into the public hearing record. It is from John and Leslie Hicklin, and they live at number 10 Linden Estates. They are opposed to the change of the bylaw. They're concerned with traffic issues, noise, car doors slamming, loud music late at night. At 5 a.m. in the morning, vehicles arriving and banging doors. They're concerned if a gym does go into the old Sears building, open late hours, concerns are for more of the above noise and just the traffic and loud music and whatnot. They also state they're having a housing development approved for the old RCMP grounds, which is going to create more traffic in the area, semis back and forth out of BC Fruits. Yet no one is saying what is happening with that particular lot. A temporary permit is for 3 years. That is a long time for temporary. We are concerned about the amount of traffic and noise in our area.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now we'd like to open it up to the public. We need you to come to the lectern and give us your name and address for the record, but anyone who wishes to speak to this issue, please come forward now. Okay. Great, thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Greg Brown, and I live at 8917 Smith Street, right behind the fruit packers plant.
Okay.
And as it stands, since the bottle washing plant opened, the semis will load up on the east side of the building, and they'll drive right in front of my house, right here, park, idle, and sit there for half an hour, 45 minutes with the exhaust fumes going. Sometimes there's 2 semis at once and they're just chatting, or they're on their phone or checking their load or whatever. But I
I'm going to
would-
get you
I
to
would
speak
pref-
right into there because I don't want anybody
Oh,
listening. I
yeah,
just don't want them
I'm
to miss
sorry.
it. I'm sorry.
I would prefer if maybe they went around to the front where there's no residential area for them to sit, check their load, check their brakes, do whatever they could.
Okay, so now, may I just ask you, you're concerned about the temporary use?
I'm concerned about all the excess semi-traffic that will be coming into that building now. And I agree with the people that wrote that letter. 3 years is a long time for temporary.
Okay.
And I've lived there 11 years. It's been fantastic. I love the fruit packing plant.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's a shame that it had to close its doors, but, you know, there's never been an issue with semis before. They would come, they would turn their vehicle off, they would load up, secure their load, start it, drive away. So, either if it's gonna be a major issue with lots of traffic, maybe a privacy fence should be built along Smith Street. You know, like the big concrete ones, or maybe cedar shrubs or cedar trees put in to block the noise and the pollution. This summer, the pollution from those semis sitting in my backyard, we love our backyard. It's very private, but it's just a stench of the diesel fumes that were really getting to us this year. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, the thing of it is, temporary 3 years, and then they can get a junction and go through council again, get another 3 years. This could go on for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Now, how's my property values gonna end up? Will I never be able to sell my house? Because who wants to live behind a big commercial building, right? When the fruit packers were there, they had all the crates up, and it was like a big fence, a big barrier all along that back fence. And we like that as the privacy. That's why we picked that house 11 years ago. Yeah. And, yeah, that's about it. I just thought I'd make my statements, and I do have a lot of concerns though, because we don't know what's gonna happen, who's going in there, how much noise. Will it be like, do we know what businesses will be going in there?
No, not yet, no.
Yeah.
We'll answer your questions afterwards, but to just explain it, because you brought up some good points, so we'll come back to you on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you. Who else would like to speak to this issue? Is there someone else who would like to speak to this issue? Great, thank you so much. And for the record, if you tell everyone who you are.
Sure, my name is Joel Gregg. I reside at 144 Jewel Place. And I'm speaking here today as owner of the Jubilee Fitness Club. I understand there's temporary zoning for recreation purposes. I'm just curious as to what recreation purposes would happen here.
We'll have to give you a little more update as soon as the public hearing is closed, but
Okay.
any concerns for or against?
No.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this issue? Thank you.
Yes, my name is Mrs. Brown, and I live at 8917 Smith Street also.
Hello.
And I was wondering how, like, this is basically the parking lot is right across the street from our backyard and our entranceway. And I'm wondering if Smith Street is going to be shortened, narrowed, affected by this. I'm also concerned about noise, pollution, lighting. What hours of operation? Hopefully it's during normal hours of operation. I would not want to see big trucks coming through there at 9, 10 o'clock at night, considering it's right in our backyard, pretty much. So my main is in lighting at night is one of my main issues. We've already lit up like a Christmas tree by the street light. And basically the amount of traffic and the noise and pollution, and pretty much that's it. And I just wanted to say that these are our main concerns, because we feel like fish in a bowl right now.
Yeah.
And we feel that it's gonna get worse with the traffic. And I was just curious about hours of operation and idling trucks and so forth.
Okay.
And that's pretty much covers it.
Well
Short,
done.
but sweet.
No, that's okay, you did well. Thank you so much, great job. Okay, anyone else like to speak to this issue? Hi.
Hi, Herman Metzger from 8705 Purvis Road.
Yes.
We're here to that wall where the trucks come and turn around to park in there when they do their cherries and that. And when we went away this last summer, we left our windows open. We came back home, we had almost a half inch of dust from when they bring their trucks in and turn around in there.
Can you just show us what street you're on again, just so I get a...
Right behind the police station. Those
Okay,
where
yeah,
I-
right behind there,
Purvis right here. We're
right there.
Right here.
Okay,
We're right
right
there,
beside
right
it.
by the fence.
Yes, yes.
It wasn't, like he said, last year they had all the bins there, it was nice. And they burnt all the bins. Now we get dust.
Thank you. The noise. Okay, we got it, good. Okay. Is there let's make sure, because the viewing audience can't decipher who's speaking. So if you want to come to the microphone, come on, and he did a good job. He did a good job, don't worry. Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this issue? And second time, is there anyone else who would like to speak to this issue? No? Okay. And third and final time, anyone else like to speak to this issue? All right, we're going to close the public hearing and come back to the council table. And Mr. McIntosh, can you answer some of the questions about what you know as far as the, or can you say at this point what the temporary permit is about and the idea of a fitness center? And can you explain more about what you're hearing might be possible operations for the facility?
Yes, Your Worship. And firstly, the bylaw in front of council today is to create the temporary use permit areas so that temporary use permits can be issued should council want to. So in effect, it gives council additional control over what there is there now with respect to zoning. So the property on the south side of Jubilee Road, the old packing plant, currently is operating under the zoning that is there, and the only conditions that affect those businesses are the zoning regulations, which are typically limited to height, size, parking spaces, that sort of thing. If the temporary use permit bylaw succeeds and somebody comes in and wants to get a temporary use permit, then council can issue the permit with conditions that may include hours of work, may include access points, may include all kinds of things. And they may choose not to issue a temporary use permit if the neighbors have concern and the business may be deemed to be too loud or too much traffic or what have you. So this bylaw, if businesses come forward, actually gives council a greater level of control than they currently have.
So you're saying if this went through tonight in fact, if a company came in and it was deemed by the council the day that it was not appropriate, they could in fact say, no, you don't get the permit.
That would be for a temporary use. If they satisfy the current zoning that's there, then they could just come in, of course. But if they don't satisfy the zoning and they want a temporary use, then council has full control over the conditions and whether or not they get granted a permit.
Okay, Councillor Robson to start.
Okay, to the planner. The building we're talking about is the old Sears building.
That is correct. That's on the north side of Jubilee over here.
Exactly. And we're talking 100 yards, 300 yards?
In the neighborhood.
Yeah, from those two locations. So I don't really see the relevance of the concern here. There's no trucks going into that Sears parking lot that I'm aware of right now, other than for the Builders Mart. So I don't see where it's gonna bother Smith Street or the other street that gentleman was talking about, because it's totally isolated from it. So I have no concerns here, personally.
Do you want to
Unless somebody can point something out to me that I'm not seeing.
Well, the permit that brought this issue to the table is for the Summerland Builders Mart in this area, and it is, could be the former Sears location. But the bylaw amendment in front of council to create the temporary use areas applies to all properties zoned CM, and there are 2 areas of town only that have that zoning, and they're shown on the screen there. So somebody could come and apply for temporary use permit in this area, which we have, but somebody could also come and apply for a temporary use permit across the street. We have no applications in that regard as yet.
So we'll deal with them on an individual basis.
Exactly.
So the bylaw tonight is to move it to the next stage of the possibility, then to go to a temporary use, and then whatever business comes forward, then that is considered at that time,
Exactly.
right? Okay, Councillor Waterman and then Councillor Christopherson.
Thank you, Your Worship. To the planner, what I see is we've got 2 problems here that are not well related. In that, yes, we're looking at the temporary use, which affects the potential for a recreation facility in the Builders Mart, but it also affects the whole thing. And it's separate to that, though. There's already an ongoing problem that's really nothing to do with this particular permit, but it's got everything to do with the residents' quality of life in that immediate area around the packing plant. So I mean, this perhaps should be dealt at a different time, but perhaps we could indicate that this concern has been registered to us and that we should look into it and see if there's something can be done to mitigate the residents' concerns. I see them as 2 different issues. One is the temporary use, which is fine as far as I can see. What we've also got, though, is an ongoing difficulty that's been there for some time and needs to be remedied. So I'd like that second thing to be dealt with either by staff or have the thing come before us again and try to deal with the problem that the neighbors have.
Yeah, I'll assign staff to go have a look and
Okay.
look into that and
Yeah.
see what we can do there. We might not be able to do anything, but we'll
Well,
at least
you know.
look into the problem and try and arrive at a solution with the property owner.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because obviously there wasn't a difficulty there because of the bins acting as a major fence. So if the outfit wishes to continue operating there and keep everybody happy, then they're gonna have to do something as far as I'm concerned.
Ian McIntosh, just before I go to Councillor Christopherson, was there anything else that you wanted to add? I realized that you had not completely finished your statement.
The only other question that came up was regarding the business that is wanting to go into
Yes.
the fitness business.
Yes.
I am not aware at the moment of what particular fitness business that might be.
Okay.
I understand that one is looking to relocate in Summerland, but I'm not sure which it is, and I haven't got that information until such time as we get to the actually considering the temporary use permit.
So should this go forward tonight, that would be the next stage, which would come back to the council, possibly the next council meeting or a future council meeting. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, Councillor Christopherson.
The semis that have been referred to have nothing to do with the temporary use permit.
No, Your Worship, that's more of a bylaw enforcement issue, and as our CAO mentioned, we'll refer that to them to have a look.
I can sympathize with the people with their concerns, but we have no authority over that. And I think that what our CAO had mentioned I think he will try to address the concerns, because I wouldn't want to be in that position either, but there are things that we can deal with and things that we cannot deal with.
So if the situation was that there's a second interest, obviously, with this fitness facility, which is for the old Sears store, right?
That is
That's
correct.
going to come forward in the future. There is nothing, as far as you know of, being considered for the packing house at this time. We're simply wanting to put the temporary use in there to open up possibilities. Is that correct?
That's exactly correct.
Okay, so there's nothing coming forward to us right now. When something does, let's suppose somebody said, I don't know, we're gonna have a movie studio in there. It's a nice big open cement building. Maybe you're gonna have a movie studio in there, just for example. So would that come back to this council, and would the public be invited to make their comments known? Would there be a public hearing or a variance or something that would trigger the audience finding out about this?
They could apply for a temporary use permit.
Okay,
That would come before council. There is notification required. It's not an official public hearing, but the public can come to that meeting and comment, and then council could either issue the permit or not issue the permit, or issue the permit with conditions.
would the public be invited to speak as part of a public hearing?
I don't believe it's an official public hearing, but it is we do have to provide notice, and the public is able to attend.
So do you take the meeting minutes from tonight and move those forward in some way?
I
Keep them
do
on
not
file?
believe so.
They're on our.
They go into the public record, but other than that, I don't believe so.
It would be treated the same as a development variance permit, so
Yes.
they do get to talk to council,
Oh,
and
do they?
council gets to
Okay.
hear the
That's
issue.
That's exactly what I was hoping for, because in the case of the Hicklins and the Browns, in particular, their comments might be completely valid, given who might want to go in there on a temporary basis. In fact, now, we can't stop what's already happening other than to have our CAO check it. But should a company come forward, that would be the time that you'd want to make those comments known again. Okay? Okay, Councillor Van Alphen.
Thank you. I have no problem with the temporary use permit on the Sears building there for this gym or whatever wants to go in. The question I have, and where I'm a little bit confused, is the kind folks from Purvis that spoke. Are we talking that the semis are going into the old RCMP lot? No? And turning around?
You come in behind the packing house and pull up right beside the fence, and we're right there.
Okay, thank you.
Right
Yeah.
beside the fence.
I appreciate that. It sounds like we've, like our CEO has mentioned, we may have a bylaw issue that may have to be addressed, and we'll have to look into that, but
That's the
thank you
first-
for clarifying that.
First time that we've heard it too.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to know the wish of council. Someone like to move a motion forward one way or the other, please? Councillor Van Alphen?
Thank you, Your Worship. That bylaw 2014-029, amendment of zoning bylaw number 2000-450 to create a new temporary use permit area, 8911 and 9310 Jubilee Road. The bylaw 2014-029, amendment of zoning bylaw number 2000-450, temporary use permit area, 9811 and 9310 Jubilee Road be read a second and third time and be adopted.
Seconder, please. Thank you. Okay, comments? Comments? Councillor Hallquist and then Councillor Waterman.
Well, for me, we have a business that's operated there. The packing house has been there for a long, long time. It is a heavy commercially zoned piece of property. And now we're affording them the opportunity to do something that's maybe I would call non-conforming in the form of a temporary use permit. I don't see the problems of heavy commercial getting any worse. It's gonna get better in terms of either lighter commercial or just straight commercial or whatever it might be. And I think there's a lot more control over the uses going forward here and for the protection of the public than there is right now. So I fully support what we're trying to do here.
Okay, Councillor Waterman?
Thank you, Worship. I'm just going back to the Builders Mart site where this facility may go in. The Builders Mart currently owns that whole building, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so they are essentially will be with this change, be able to sublease or lease out a portion of their building.
That's correct.
Okay.
Should the temporary use permit get issued by council, of course.
Which is not being done tonight.
Right.
We're just putting the bylaw forward so they can make that next step.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Any other comments? Councillor Holquist?
Just one question then
Sure.
to Ian. So within the way it stands right now, the heavy commercial, and we'll talk about the Builders Mart property. So the Sears previous operation, I don't think it's still in operation, but the previous operation would be straight retail business. Is that really a permitted use within the heavy commercial area?
It was under, I believe, there's a warehouse, wholesale component to that zone that requires large storage of large equipment, or things like fridges and,
Okay.
and such. So that is the permitted use that they were operating out of or under.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, so just for the people who are here tonight, the issue around the packing house does not change. There's no application for it to change at this time. So the really good part about what you've done to come forward tonight is that you've told us, first time that I've ever heard of those particular issues. So that will go away to our CAO to be approached from a bylaw enforcement issue. However, should it get to the stage, if this goes through tonight, this will come back to the table in the future if someone wants to do a temporary permit for whatever the business might be. And that's when you clue in to watch and be watchful for what might come forward, okay? And it might be, I think Councillor Holquist is absolutely correct. I think it could be 100% better than the noise and the issues that you're seeing today. On the other hand, it may be something that you want to bring up. So we'll leave that with you, okay? And as far as Mr. Gregg is concerned, the application as far as who is going into the Builders Mart will come at a future meeting.
It may or may not. I mean, the permit, if it comes forward, will be issued to the owners of the Builders Mart for a interior recreation or indoor recreation use, and that could be any number of businesses. It wouldn't necessarily be identified with that application.
But that's not here.
No.
So that will come.
At a future meeting, either
I
2 weeks from
understand.
now or later, depending on us sorting out issues.
Okay, anything else? Okay, all those in favor? No one's opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you so much. And Ian, if you could let Councillor Hacking back in.
Oh.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Mayor's Report. And I just want to say that November is Adoption Awareness Month for British Columbia. This month offers an opportunity to celebrate the many families in the province that have opened their hearts and homes through adoption. My own children are adopted, so this is kind of special to me. Even more important is to highlight the need for more families to consider adoption. Over the past 5 years, nearly 1,250 have found homes through adoption, but there are still more than 1,000 children and youth in government care waiting for a forever family. If you would like more information, check out 1000familiesbc.com. Thanks to the Summerland Museum for inviting me to come and speak on October the 29th to their executive members about council goals and objectives. Yesterday, the Summerland Alliance Church hosted their annual Royal Canadian Legion church service to honor veterans, war brides, and the Legion executive. Thank you to Pastor Rick Gay and the congregation for this annual event that reminds us of the importance of Remembrance Day and the men and women who have gone to war in the past for our freedom and those that continue to serve in our armed forces today. This weekend is the election for all municipalities across BC. The Summerland Council elected this weekend will serve our community for the next 4 years. Everyone at this table, other than Councillor Lloyd Christopherson and myself, are running this year with a host of new candidates, some of which are in this room tonight. Thank you to everyone for putting your name forward to serve. May I take this time to wish all of you the very best of luck and to thank you to everyone who takes the time to get out and vote. If you need more information regarding the candidate's name, contact information, voting times and locations, call Municipal Hall or check out our website at www.summerland.ca. And that's my report, and I'll turn it over to our CAO for his report.
Two brief items, Your Worship. First, for the viewing public and those in the audience, I'd like to introduce Renee Bellick, at our table. Renee is the manager of finance. Started working for us about 3 months ago. And she's ably filling Lori's place while Lori's taking a very well-deserved vacation before budget time. So people will know Renee's face. The second thing I just wanted to report is a bit more of a preview. So I know since I've been hired here, one of council's priorities has been to establish a better website. And I know it hasn't come as fast as council wanted, but I think council is very well aware of all the IT issues that we needed to sort out that really impacted productivity and the effectiveness of our staff. And so on November 24th, we will be previewing for council's pleasure what our new website will look like, how it will function. Jeremy will put on a show for council on their last regular day, but at least we got it done for you. I apologize again that it was this late, and we expect it to go live December 1st is what we're aiming at.
Great.
And so I just wanted to kind of leave council with that. So
Thank you.
we'll
Thank you.
show you on the 24th.
That's great. That's good. Okay, next item on the agenda is no correspondence. I understand no. So 9.1, this is the recommendations from the Committee of the Whole. That's from this morning's meeting. And I'm going to turn it over to Tom Day.
Yes, so for the community's awareness, we have a policy manual that is significantly out of date. A lot of the policies were in from the early 90s, and it just, I guess, a policy manual in most organizations is the last thing that you look at when you're really busy. And so it did get out of date, and so staff over the last couple of months have really put a concerted effort into looking at that policy manual and bringing everything up to date, eliminating policies that were no longer applicable, that were covered by legislation. And we went through that policy manual with council this morning. And so the Committee of the Whole has reviewed it. They had 4 specific policies I'm going to talk about in just a second, but for the public's information, the current policy manual has in the neighborhood of 115 policies. We've whittled that down to about 70. They've all been updated, and council's had a look at what the new and amended ones look like and have endorsed it, subject to 4 issues that they raised this morning. Those 4 issues were, first of all, policy for release of in-camera information. Council wanted to make sure that staff on a 90-day basis check through and make sure that if there are items that can be released and made public, that they do so, and so that policy reflects that now. Council will see that attached. The second one that council talked about was the council travel and conference expenses. Previously, the policy allowed for council members to go to FCM without necessarily council's direct approval, and now the policy reflects that if they desire to go to FCM, they need to come to council for approval, and that would dictate that the finance department would be able to inform council as to costs and source of funds for that. The third item that council questioned was whether the transit bus shelter advertising should be for 90 days in a year, and in fact staff confirmed that the 90 days does work out. It's slide in, slide out, and that's the way the bylaws, so we've amended that as one of the council members pointed out. And the last one that council raised was just a review of hiring practices in regards to establishing that the District of Summerland will seek the best person for the job. The District of Summerland will, if someone is collecting a pension, will ensure that taxpayers aren't on the hook for a prolonged period or any kind of unnecessary severance. And so that policy really reflects that ability. And again, we had a lengthy discussion on this morning, but it is about enabling the District of Summerland to hire the best people possible for the job. And so with that, the recommendation really from the Committee of the Whole this morning and from staff is that council adopt this updated policy manual that was presented. Again, I think that's in the range of about 70 policies will be in the policy manual. They'll all be effective as of today's date. and they'll be renumbered so that they're consecutive as opposed to the numbering system that exists now that we've rescinded things. So.
Okay, questions of the wish of council? Councillor Waterman?
I'd like to bring the motion forward. Your
Please, thank you.
Just read Policy Manual 2014, that council adopt the revised policy manual effective November 10th, 2014.
Seconder, please.
I'd
Thank
like
you.
to speak to it as
Please
well.
go ahead.
Thank you. I'm particularly pleased to see the reduction in numbers. That's a big help. Makes maybe the thing will be a little bit less thick. The other thing is that I'm particularly pleased with the policy change of 100.1, release of in-camera information. That was something that I think will make things a little bit clearer and more transparent for the public. Because it's important to me, and I think it was seen as important by council, that regular review of items that may be cleared and be allowed to be brought out of in-camera is very important for the public. That needs to be done on a regular, and is being pointed out, a 90-day basis. So I'm very glad to see that move ahead, because it's a critical thing for councils to be seen as transparent and bringing things forward when they can out of in-camera. And I think it was noted by our CAO this morning, there's a great number of issues that cannot be brought out, personnel issues, etc. So, but this is one thing that staff will be able to look at and review on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, a perfect example of that actually was at the last council meeting when we had the situation. You want to just explain that story?
Yes, at the last, so generally, discussions around land take place in camera, because if it was in public, it could impact the value of to the public, to the community. And so land discussions take place in camera, but at the last council meeting, council directed that decision be made public that night, that the lease document be made public that night. And so that's the practice that we try to continue to bring everything forward once it doesn't have a negative impact if it is publicly known.
Any other comments? It's kind of disappointing you spent.
It wasn't just me. All the directors here, they spent a huge amount of time. But it wasn't needed to happen. It was sadly out of date, and it's so hard to do because you have so many pressing concerns, and that's sitting on the corner of your desk. And so it was good work by all of staff, for sure.
Well done. I just want to say that too. It's really, really good work, and very pleased that you did. Councillor Van Elfen and Councillor Robson.
Thank you, Worship. The other one too, the one that Councillor Waterman brought up is very important. I'd like to make sure that as much information does get back out to the public as quickly as possible, and I'm glad we're going to be reviewing that on a more current basis. The other one is that council travel and conference expenses, and why this one was discussed at length this morning. I believe the FCM this year is in Prince Edward Island, and as much as I'm sure a whole bunch of people, new people, whoever it might be at this table, would love to go to PEI, I think that this stuff should also become a council decision, not a free junket type thing on the taxpayers' expenses. And so I'm glad to see that one's there also. And that's it. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Robson?
My concern, Your Worship, thank you, is that the policy has to be updated because legislation changes, which dictates policy changes.
Absolutely.
And when something hasn't been looked at since 1992, I have concerns about the relevance of some of the policy, and especially when it's been dealt with through legislation changes. And so I'm glad that our CAO took the initiative and got his staff working together to put it together, and I'm very pleased with the outcome.
Well said. Okay. Any other comments? Okay, good work, Tom. All those in favor? Motion is carried unanimously. So if you could tell all the staff, thank you so much, and
I think everyone's here.
your headache will be appreciated for years to come. That was good work. Okay, next item on the agenda is the fire department management software conversion, and our fire chief, Glenn Noble, is here, and if you could just give us a little bit of background on what you're planning to do.
Thank you, Your Worship. As you know from this morning, the fire department fire management software is in need of a conversion to a new platform, as well as server concerns with the current server being discontinued. The intention was to bring this forward as a 2015 budget item, but in discussions with the Director of Corporate Services, he feels that we should move forward with this conversion sooner than later. This software is a critical component of our day-to-day operations, and it tracks our personnel, our training, properties, incidents, property inspection data, and the like, asset management as well. So the conversion to stay with the current provider is $13,750 plus tax. And we're requesting that council authorize that funding to come from the fire department capital reserve account.
Okay. Councillor Hallquist.
So, Glenn, how long had this current software, how many years did we get out of it?
We've been with FDM, which is the name of the provider, since 1993.
Well
I'd be
said.
pleased to move the motion if I could, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
The council authorize the fire department management software conversion to a new operating platform, and that the funding for the conversion come from the fire department capital reserve account.
Seconder. Thank you. Seconded. Any other comments, Glenn?
No.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. We might have some more questions, so I'll ask you just to state it. Councillor Hacking?
Just a comment that in '93, we weren't even at Windows XP yet. I'm sure this is long overdue.
I think I had 386. Would that have been about the year? So, yeah. You're a little overdue. So
Got
that's
more than your
good.
money's worth out of it.
Yes, you certainly did. And has it been working well?
It's our life. Everything goes into that
Wow.
program. So everything from day-to-day payroll tracking to fire inspections and incident tracking.
Does it just flip over and does the new software just grasp it and run with it? I hope so, otherwise you're going to have...
I defer to our corporate, our Director of Corporate Services.
You know,
for
you're
that,
going to have
so
about 2 weeks of pure misery trying to figure it out, and then you'll love it, but it'll, yeah.
It's over my head.
Nothing you can't handle, that's for sure. Councillor Robson?
That's, my concern is the informatics director of corporate services. Jeremy, how are we looking at this as being a transition? It's pretty simple?
We'll get you to come up to the microphone, Jeremy, thank you. This is Jeremy Denninger.
Denninger. Yeah, the transition will be pretty smooth. Most of the work will be done by the vendor FDM. And we'll be running both systems in parallel, so that until the new system's perfect, they will still be able to use the old system.
Okay, so marrying things together, I mean, if we're looking at inspections and everything else, it'll all be correlated through the system.
Yeah. This company's been in business doing this for a very long time, and we're not the first transition they've done, so they've got the expertise to take care of it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Full faith in them.
Good. Can you teach these old guys the new tricks? Nothing to it. Nothing to it, Glenn. Okay. Any other comments? All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you so much. All right. Next item on the agenda is the Climate Action Committee, and Don Darling, if you would take us through this. Don Darling is our Director of Works and Utilities.
Your Worship, the Climate Action Committee is formed of 7 members of the public, 1 district representative, and 1 person from council. The committee reviews requests for funding green projects and makes recommendations to council. And the committee was previously administered by Development Services Department, but they had a reduction in staff. So the responsibility is now with the Works and Utilities starting this year. There was an initial meeting of the new members that took place, and they identified a chair, vice chair, and a secretary. And they also reviewed the past work of the previous committee and found 4 projects were identified for consideration in 2014. And they are as follows. There was $5,280 for the preparation of a tree farm at the wastewater treatment plant, with the idea that we'll plant our own trees. Instead of paying $500 a tree, we'll plant our own, grow them, and then use them for our own use. There's $4,000 for the Bring Back the Bottle project by Anactus Okanagan College. There's $1,500 for the hot water recycling of the Zamboni machine, and $2,000 for the Make Water Work campaign by the Okanagan Basin Water Board. The first 3 projects, the tree farm, the Bring Back the Bottle project, and the hot water recycling, are recommended by the Climate Action Committee for funding. The Make Water Work is not recommended, but we funded that through the Water Division. We think it's important. It's OBWB, and like it's all the newsletters and stuff they put out, so we funded it through there. It appears that 2 of the projects were completed but were not brought forward to council, and that appears just to be a misunderstanding by staff. They thought that once the budget was approved, that the committee could then go ahead and approve to go ahead, and they can't. They have to make recommendations to council. So we have put things in to make sure that's not going to happen anymore. And for the climate action, it has a budget of $40,000 for 2014. The proposed expenditures, so the tree farm, the Bring Back the Bottle project, and the hot water recycling of the Zamboni machine will cost $10,780, which would leave a balance of $29,220, which would be carried forward to 2015. It would still stay in the climate action budget, but it would be brought forward for new projects. And staff is recommending that the expenditures be approved.
Okay, and I think our climate action representative liaison is Councillor Christopherson.
Yes.
Would you like to put it on the table?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
So moved recommendation that council approve expenditures from the Climate Action Committee budget as follows. $5,280 for the preparation of the tree farm at the wastewater treatment plant. $4,000 for the Bring Back the Bottle project by Inactus Okanagan College, and $1,500 for the hot water recycling off the Zamboni machine.
Seconder, please. Thank you. Did you wish to comment?
As usual, the Climate Action Committee does do a lot of research, and they do come up with some excellent recommendations, and then these 3 are examples of that. They're a great group and a great addition to this community, and I commend them, their continued good work.
Councillor Waterman?
Thank you, Worship. I just have a question of our Director of Public Works regarding the tree farm. Is our horticulturalist, that I assume is under the direction of Rec Department, is that true, or is he under your direction?
No, they're under, well, they work in our department, but they're, it's kind of like a joint effort. The tree farm is a joint effort between Works and Utilities and Parks and Rec. And so we work closely together, but the horticulturalists are the people that are involved in planting the trees and making sure everything grows.
I am greatly relieved.
Yeah, it's not the guys at the wastewater treatment plant.
Good. Okay, I just had visions of these trees sitting there at 1 foot in height for some considerable time.
Nope.
If the right people weren't involved in seeing that they grow. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Van Alphen?
Thank you, Worship. Question through our Director of Works and Utilities. Can you explain the $1,500 for a hot water recycling of the Zamboni?
That's why Brenda's
I'm
saying
sorry,
they came here for that.
I'm a little confused on that one. I'd like some clarification, that's for sure.
This is Brenda Ingram, who is in our Parks and Recreation. Your title?
Manager.
Recreation manager.
Manager, thank you.
What that is there is a hot water loop that goes through off of the heating coil through the heating that goes over to the RCMP and back through our dehumidifier, and it's quite a complex system. Anyways, we can tap into that hot water line, so it provides hot water directly into the Zamboni, helping us heat water quicker rather than starting from cold water and heating water into the Zamboni. We've got a hot water loop there already. We should be tapping off of it.
Wow, excellent, thank you.
Well done, well said, okay. It was worth having you here for that alone. Tom Day had a comment.
I did. I know I don't have to remind council, but perhaps the community, that when we talk about the Climate Action Committee having a budget of $40,000, it's self-funded. Council set it up 2 years ago so that it was self-funded, so that basically we pay ourselves carbon offset fees as opposed to paying the province. And in order for us to be carbon neutral, we basically pay ourselves and then use that for environmental purposes. So just so the community is aware, I think it was a brilliant move by council in terms of not sending that money out of the community, but retaining it and making improvements to our own operations.
Another brilliant move that we made. Oh, no bias whatsoever. I can say no. I'm done in a week. Any final comments?
No, yours.
No, thank you so much, John, for bringing this forward, and thanks also to the Climate Action Committee. If you could pass on our thanks to them. Council, all those in favor? No one's opposed. Motion is carried. Thank you so much. 9.4 is removed from the agenda, so we'll go on to new business. Under bylaws, bylaw 2014-031, General Fund Asset Management Reserve Fund Establishing Bylaw. Could I have a short synopsis by Renee or Tom Day, whoever?
I'll take it. So again, this is following council's direction. This is something that was in council's goals and objectives in terms of trying to find alternate sources of funding and trying to secure those funds for, specifically for infrastructure improvement. And so last meeting, council approved the lease for Cantex, where we estimate we might generate an additional $90,000 or more per year, and this bylaw dictates that those funds will be put into reserve and can only be spent upon capital infrastructure improvements. It also provides other opportunities. If we have retired debt in the general fund, that also goes in there, and I've been in another municipality where that has worked really well, because otherwise the retired debt payments just end up they just basically offset tax increase, but here they'll be preserved for improving infrastructure. So another really fulfilling council's goals and objectives for this year, and a good move for our infrastructure deficit.
The particular councillor who asked the question and made sure that this was brought forward was Councillor Bruce Hallquist. If you could please put this on the table.
I would love to do that. I'd like to move that bylaw 2014-031 General Fund Asset Management Reserve Fund establishing bylaw be adopted.
Seconder, please. Thank you. Any final questions? Councillor Hallquist.
And I just, as one of the proponents of looking for alternate sources of funding for specifically for our capital projects going forward, or aging infrastructure, I couldn't be happier to see something like this established. For all these years that I've been sitting here and whining about it, finally got it done, so thank you.
Excellent work. Excellent work. Okay. Any other comments? All those in favor? Motion's carried unanimously, and we are done. Council reports, to start with Councillor Van Elfen, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a reminder to the public, this Wednesday evening at 6:30, Philosopher's Cafe, they're hosting a bully-free evening. They're going to be a presentation and some information from the bully-free group here in Summerland, and so it should be an interesting evening. And just a comment, if I may, I just want to, my hat's off to CCDC. The Remembrance Day banners are absolutely spectacular. It just, I just think it's absolutely phenomenal, the job they've done and the research that's been put into this, and it's just so neat to drive down the street and see the faces and the names, and I just think it's a real honor to our veterans and to the families.
So both Tom and I are feeling pretty darn proud
Yeah,
right now. 'Cause
we both sponsored one, and just for those members of the community who do appreciate those, like Janice and I did, I think it was only $150 or something.
No, it was about 185.
Was it? And you can sponsor one, and it's up there for years. So.
And to see the young man's face who, that I sponsored, and I was looking at yours as well, Tom, I just thought, wow, it really does just do it to you.
I just think it's another, one of a kind in Summerland type thing, homegrown in Summerland, and I think we should be proud of CCDC for spearheading this and everyone that's contributed to it. So thank you very much.
Well said. Anything else? That's it?
Oh, that's it.
Councillor Waterman.
No report, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Robson.
Well, Your Worship, a couple of things. I just wanted to thank the Chamber for the forums that were put on. We had two, locals supporting locals was a week and a half ago now, I guess. And then on last Tuesday night, we had the forum at the high school auditorium, which was well attended. I think there was almost 600 people attended it. Very well turned out too, and I think everybody that was speaking got their point across as best they could. The other thing I wanted to comment on was Remembrance Day tomorrow. We'll be forming up at 10:30, and hopefully
10:45, we'll be there.
Yep, 11 o'clock we'll have the moment of silence. And then another comment that I wanted to bring up was the Adams Bird Sanctuary. There was some damage done there earlier this spring by a property owner that encroached on our sanctuary for the Rotary Club and at the Adams property, tore down a number of deciduous trees. We went in there and repaired some damage to it, but we need to plant some trees. And we're making a bit of a memorial there for one of our Rotarians that did a lot of work at the Out of the Bird Sanctuary, George Nagel. And we want to put some deciduous trees in there, but they run at a great cost. And I thought, you know, while the municipality is looking at planting trees, maybe there's some out there that want to get rid of a few trees that could donate them to Rotary, and we'll put them into good use on the Out of the Bird Sanctuary. So we're looking for deciduous trees.
So who should they contact, yourself?
They can contact me or
Okay.
Denise Estepos, who is the president of our
Yes,
Rotary
lawyer in
Club.
town, yes.
Yeah, and Gary Hollingshead as well.
Okay, so any Rotary
Yeah.
Rotary member?
Any Rotary.
Good comment. Okay, anything else?
No, that's
Anything
it.
else?
Thank
All
you,
right,
Worship.
good. Counselor Christopherson?
Thank you, Worship. For the past several months, I've been working diligently to wean myself from civic politics. And I have to admit, I've exceeded beyond my wildest dreams. But it's been a great run for 2 terms.
Yeah. Well, you've got one more council meeting.
I know, one more
Yeah,
council
yes,
meeting.
it's feeling that, I know we are. Counselor, anything else? That's it?
No, that's
Good,
all.
excellent comments. Counselor Hacking?
I just want to quickly, again, note that November 28th is Friday, starting at 5 p.m. downtown is our Festival of Lights. And sponsors are lining up and volunteers are lining up, so if you'd like to volunteer or sponsor at the Festival of Lights, contact Christine at the Chamber. And theme this year is Christmas Rocks, so get out your air guitar and come join us downtown.
The official day of Christmas actually starts in Summerland at our, Festival of Lights. That I hope everybody knows that, so. Counselor Hallquist?
So I was just reflecting on what Councillor Van Elfen was talking about in terms of the Philosopher's Cafe. You said next Wednesday night?
This Wednesday night.
This Wednesday. And talking about Summerland being a bully-free zone. It's not quite a bully-free zone.
No.
From my own family's personal experience. So I hope that that is sort of reflected when they have that meeting. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend, and maybe a member of my family might be attending, but it's still a pretty serious problem in this town.
Yes.
And all the signs and all the pink t-shirts and all this kind of stuff is great, but it's still a problem. And hopefully at the Philosopher's Cafe, they have a good frank discussion about it, because, like I say, it still is a problem.
Yeah.
I guess as everybody's already said, I'd just like to remind everybody to get out and vote come Saturday. And I'd just like to wish everybody that is running for council and for mayor and so on the best of luck, and we'll see what happens after November the 15th. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thursday night is Coco's, the new fashion store on Main Street, is actually hosting a fashion show. It's going to be at Center Stage, and the funds raised are going to be for Sadie. And they've picked some people who have no idea about modeling clothes. So I'm a little nervous about this.
Do they need a professional?
Yeah. If you could wear an evening dress, I suspect you'd be loved. I suspect you would look a whole lot better than what I look.
That'd probably be.
And I thought I was bad. But we're going to do what we can to raise funds for Sadie, because Sadie, of course, as everybody knows, has had some real problems with the flooding, and their van is broken down, so we're trying to raise enough funds to get them, just to give them a little bit of a start. I didn't really think they should pick me as one of the models, but I'll tell them to call you right
Give me
away.
a call. You bet.
All right. Anything else?
Just
Yes.
one other
Yes.
thing, I just want to comment on what Councillor Hallquist has said, and it is so true. Just a few pink shirts in town and a couple of pink signs, it's not cutting it.
No.
We got to do better. We have to do better, and our youth, it's not just our youth, it's all sorts of folks in Summerland, and it's an issue that runs rampant through our community, and it's kept quite quiet at times, and it's a shame, but, somehow, somewhere, we gotta get this message across that it's not tolerated, and, Summerland, we need to do better.
There's
For
a
sure. With bullying, sorry.
There is a phrase that if you don't recognize your problems, if you don't realize your problems, you can't make any moves to change it. So the very fact that we realize that, I think, is definite move forward. So if I could ask for a motion to adjourn, please. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Meeting is officially adjourned. We still have several people in the audience. Is there anyone who would like to speak at the lectern? And thank you. On the agenda, anything that you'd like to discuss? Go ahead, John. I think he turned it off. Go ahead.
I'm here representing the Summerland Youth Center Association, and you sort of pulled the rug out from under me by taking the skateboard park off the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I'm wondering if I have your indulgence to ask a question.
Well, certainly. I'll let you go ahead. We might not be able to answer it tonight, but
With the new skateboard park, the youth center is quite concerned about the disposition of the old skateboard park and the fact that it will be underutilized and become derelict and sort of a magnet for people to hang around. And seeing it's right behind our building, I guess we're concerned about what the future of that park might be, and we want to make sure that you're aware of it and that there's money set aside to remove it if that was the decision.
go ahead, Tom.
I appreciate that comment, and it's a good comment. I think one of the things one of the things that staff are proposing to put forward to the next council is a Parks and Recreation and Culture Master Plan, and part of that is to look at what are we going to do with all these properties, and in particular that core piece of property that forms part of our recreation center. So that I hope will be a choice that the next council chooses to budget, and we'll look at that from a long-term perspective. But I think your short-term perspective is a good comment. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Any other comments from anyone? Well, thank you so much. It was great to have everyone here. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much.